It's honestly like I want to get like 683 at the meet.
Holy shit.
Natural. Wow, that's very
Yeah,
impressive.
but I was doing 871 before, so it's like it's a lot.
First of all, some updates. Number one, Pete, you might be interested in this. I have a video coming up tomorrow on opiate antagonists being used to improve PCTs. I think it's a really exciting thing. I wanted to let the audience know about that. That's the first time I think anyone's made a video or discussed it. Boston, this is basically about blocking opioid receptors instead of just using an aromatase inhibitor or a SERM to help with PCT or fertility, by the way. Second thing I want to mention is, Boston, thanks to you, I made a video on HCG and weight loss. You blew my mind. I had no idea this thing caused weight loss. Dude, I was like, listen, Boston doesn't notice things that are not true. So I'm going to go figure it out. Immediately I realized that HCG, part of it binds to the TSH receptor. And it, not just that, it does many things to the thyroid. So I'm making a video on that. Thank you, Boston. And then also we have an upcoming video on penis pumping, which is very valuable. I promise. It sounds funny, but the audience listening to this, for those of you guys that have erectile dysfunction ever, even going off PCT or recovering from steroids or something like that, these things are extremely useful. I'm making a video on it coming up because the pump company that I used to use myself, I bought their pumps like 4 times, they're amazing, actually saw my previous video and gave me a discount code. So LA Pump has a discount code that's LONGLEO. But remember, you don't have to... It's true. Anyway, but you don't have to buy the pump machine. You just need the cylinder to do water pumping. So it's less than $100 total. Okay, the other thing I want to ask is, Boston, how's Ariella doing? Without getting into too much detail, I know she was not feeling well a while ago. Is she feeling better?
Well, we were both sick with the COVID, and then her dad passed away, but she's doing good.
So I want to let the audience know we're going to have a cool episode coming up next week, I think, with Boston.
Next Thursday.
Exactly. I wanted the audience to know if you guys have any questions about female use of hormones or anything regarding family and females, Lucie might pop in. She's pregnant. I never put a video of her while she's pregnant, but for Boston, she might pop in a little bit. But anyway, it'll be a fun discussion. So I want to let everyone know about that too. Oh, also,
Boston. I also want to say, like, for all the chicks like watching too, shoot all your questions, because literally Ariella has ran everything: testosterone, trenbolone. This is before I met her. She's ran all sorts of male hormones. So if you have any kind of, and she's very open about side effects. So if you guys have any questions, let us know.
It'll be very fun. Also, Boston, then we have Larry Pollock and then Phil Viz and then Blue back to the coach list.
Yeah. Okay. Or like I said, if you want to do another one with 2 weeks, we can fit another one in. I don't really care. That shit's funny.
That one is very fun. All right. So I wanted to ask you guys, well, one thing, Pete, before we move on, are you planning to stay natural while competing in powerlifting with less of a focus in the next 5 years or so? Or are you planning to go back?
Yeah, I'm planning to stay off. Like my deadlift's down like 200 pounds and my bench is down like 100 pounds, but
that's not so bad.
I don't know. I want to see where I can get. So
how much is your deadlift now?
It's honestly like I want to get like 683 at the meet.
Holy shit.
Natural. Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah, but I was doing 871 before, so it's like it's a lot.
At what body weight?
That was at 242 I would compete at. I cut down from like 250, like we water cut the last week. So I was really like 250, but weighed in at 242, and now I'm like 220.
Did you ever compete against Larry Wills?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Twice.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, he's very nice.
Are there these tested organizations that you could enter?
There's basically one like predominant federation that's tested, USAPL, but you have to be 3 years drug-free before you have to sign a paper, 3 years drug-free, and I'm like 8 months. And I still don't know, like, ethically if people would like that. Even after 3 years, if people would be like, oh, yeah, it's cool now. So I'm not sure if I'm going to ever do that. But
do you think, this is a good question, do you think you would be as strong as you are right now naturally if you never, ever touched a steroid?
Yes, because I was deadlifting under the same conditions. I was deadlifting like 700 pounds before. And my bench wasn't as good, but I trained really, like, it was really reckless and stupid.
You're saying before you started taking stuff, you had a 700-pound deadlift?
Yes.
Wow.
Holy crap.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Just genetic outlier with the deadlift. But there's a lot of strong natural people now. I truly believe that, just because there's so much more competition. And I still think there are people who slip through the cracks. Like there's a few guys I'm like skeptical about who are like the top powerlifters. But I think there's a lot of crazy strong natural guys. So
what's your bench?
My bench now is like 353, but it was 463 on gear.
So
Yeah, the
you're
bench.
just like a really crazy deadlifter. Like your bench is really not that crazy, but you're just a really
Yeah.
strong deadlifter. Okay.
No, it's also Boston. The androgens most affect the bench press. So
Well,
the
push, right? It's more
Yeah.
of a push, right? Yeah.
yeah. Hey, Pete, what do you think when you see like bodybuilders like Ian Valier and James Hollingshead lifting really heavy deadlifts? Are those impressive to you also, despite their body weights?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because like I was around Dallas and he was pulling 865, and I was like, what the actual? Because
For reps.
yeah, it's well, he did 865. He missed 900, and then the other thing that he did that was crazy. He was in the same room basically, and he took the 200-pound dumbbells on incline and threw them up for 8. And I was like, what the hell? Like
Oh.
I'd never seen a bodybuilder that strong. Like he was even stronger than like Johnny Jackson, Ronnie Coleman, and he could do it all. So I was kind of jealous. I was like, well, this guy looks awesome, and he's just as strong as all of us powerlifters, and he blew me away on bench.
I see. This is why I wonder, Pete, sometimes if people with cholesterol, with genetics that make them have high cholesterol levels, are also the people that tend to be the most powerful. I think I want to make a video on it and do some extensive
Do you
research.
think-
But
Leo, do you think the massive amounts of EPO that Dallas took, I mean, massive amounts, do you think that had anything to do with his endurance? Like you said, what he was saying, he would go and do these bench presses, high weight for reps, and then go and do dumbbells. Do you
yeah,
think-
of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it's much more significant than equipoise. And Pete, you feel equipoise when you take it. You have more of endurance even during the set, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
definitely. Equipoise doesn't do anything for strength though.
Yeah, just endurance, right?
Yeah.
You feel more as endurance. Okay, so I also want to mention, guys, Boston, did you see Antoine's video? So Antoine, is his name Valiant?
And yeah, Antoine Valent, yep.
So that was an amazing video. I just want to let the audience know. Antoine made 2 amazing videos on his channel about his recent relapse. They were so forthcoming and honest. In addiction, sometimes when you're addicted to something, you have to out yourself. So you can't get stuck to keep doing it. So he made a video recently outing himself about his relapse and actually saying that his bicep tear probably happened, the recent bicep tear, because he was so dehydrated when he was relapsing on stimulants, which is, by the way, very common. People use stimulants, they get dehydrated. So it was a beautiful video,
So
actually.
Leo, he relapsed after the Olympia?
Yeah, he relapsed a couple of times after the Olympia.
And we're talking about hard drugs like meth or
Yeah.
right?
Former, yeah. And I think he lost like a lot of his size. Like if you see him recently, because when you use those stimulants, you can't eat, can't sleep.
It's crazy because if you just were to pay attention to his Instagram and what he posts, you would think he's like the happiest guy in the world and would never ever go that route,